Shorting the fuel car market and giving the death sentence to fuel cars seems to be a topic that everyone can make a few comments on. On May 15, Ren Zeping, a well-known Chinese economist, posted an article saying, "It is recommended to launch a 5-year fuel car ban schedule, south of Hebei, vigorously develop new energy, double carbon, and expand domestic demand." The remarks quickly sparked heated debate. Can't the production and sale of fuel cars and their use generate domestic demand? Some netizens also expressed their support. At this stage, the market share of new energy vehicles is at record highs, and fuel cars may really have to be withdrawn in 5 years. 3 days later, on May 18, Ren Zeping responded to the public's queries and gave 5 reasons on his Weibo account for suggesting a timetable for banning the sale of fuel cars in 5 years. Interestingly, on May 23, the topic of Toyota again calls for not giving up fuel cars prematurely rushed to the top of the search. Gil Pratt, Toyota's chief scientist and CEO of Toyota Research Institute, said the transition to electric vehicles will take longer than people expect, and that a multi-pronged approach with hybrids and alternative fuels will be better for the environment and the auto industry. According to Toyota's disclosed financial report, it sold only 38,000 pure electric vehicles in the past 2023. One user said, "Not so fast, Toyota isn't ready." Can fuel cars really be wiped out in 5 years? This is not the first time that a fuel car ban has come up. Just recently, in February this year, the European Parliament approved a legal agreement to ban the sale of new fuel cars in the EU from 2035, which means that the EU 27 will stop selling new gasoline and diesel-powered cars, light commercial vehicles, and corresponding hybrid and plug-in hybrid models in 2035. Because the agreement is too radical, the EU eventually adopted a compromise solution at the request of Germany, which means that new fuel cars using carbon-neutral fuels are expected to continue to be sold after 2035. So far, Norway, the Netherlands, Germany, France, the United Kingdom and many other countries have announced plans to ban the sale of conventional fuel cars. The time for countries to stop selling fuel cars is generally in 2025 to 2040. Specifically in terms of car companies, most well-known car companies and brands such as Volvo, Lincoln, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, Toyota and General Motors have clearly defined their timeline for stopping the sale of fuel cars. BYD, the leading new energy car company, even announced last year that it would completely stop producing fuel cars, becoming the first manufacturer in the world to stop selling fuel cars. The future of fuel car sales suspension seems to be set, which is related to the rising penetration rate of new energy vehicles. Some industry insiders have predicted that the penetration rate of new energy vehicles will exceed 50% in the next 5 years, while the penetration rate of new energy vehicles is expected to exceed 90% in the next 10 to 15 years. Fuel cars may become a scarce commodity in the future. Recent passenger car sales data also seems to prove this point. According to the research data of relevant Chinese institutions, the retail sales of new energy passenger vehicles in April was 527,000 units, an increase of 85.6% year-on-year. At the same time, the retail penetration rate of new energy vehicles reached 32.3%, up 6.6 percentage points from the same period last year, while the penetration rate of new energy vehicles of independent brands was as high as 56.5%. The current attention gap between new energy vehicles and fuel cars is also reflected in the Shanghai International Auto Show exhibition in April this year. Chinese new energy car companies have heavy new cars or pure electric strategy release. The traditional fuel car companies, but also to speed up the switch to the new energy track, with a new development of pure electric platform models exhibited. One person at the show said, "New energy car companies are getting a lot of attention. I myself pay more attention to the Azure Shirley, Pole Krypton and Pole Star, the model word Xiaopeng G6, Pole Krypton X, BYD lookup booth is too hot, the booth cannot squeeze in, so I did not go to see, for fuel cars," he euphemistically said, not too concerned, unless it's a sports car, the bright performance of new energy car companies in the market, so that the fuel car sentence of death penalty the voice of the increasingly large up. But the fact is, after years of building up the oil car ecology, not overnight to replace the. Whenever there is a view of the oil car out, it will be accompanied by a lot of opposing voices, have said as long as the oil car still exists, resolutely do not buy trams even in Europe, the United States, Japan and South Korea. Where infrastructure is better built and the economy is more developed than in China, the withdrawal of fuel vehicles is basically scheduled for 2035 to 2040. At the policy level, the possibility of banning the sale of fuel cars within 5 years is slim. As a bulk consumer product, banning the sale of fuel cars too soon will undoubtedly lead to a chain reaction of upstream and downstream industries shaking and unemployment of auto industry workers. The construction and experience of electric vehicle charging facilities is not far from the convenience of fuel car refueling. Compared with the gas stations everywhere, the current popularity of charging piles is not high. Statistics, as of the end of 2022, China's stock-pile ratio is 2.5 to 1, that is, 2.5 new energy vehicles share one charging pile, and charging piles also include fast charging piles and slow charging piles. With the current technology, the battery range and charging has not yet broken through the bottleneck. Most pure electric vehicles take more than 30 minutes to charge to 80% at the earliest. At the same time, not every charging pile can function properly. According to statistics, 20.65% of public charging piles in major cities are out of order. Under the pressure of high traffic travel, the tram charging anxiety is further magnified. Unlike the oil car refueling only a few minutes, and every few dozen kilometers there are gas stations, a limited number of charging piles simply cannot meet the surge in vehicle charging demand, and charging time is also several times the refueling, making the charging pile queue charging situation. Many tram owners also complain that they dare not turn on the air conditioner on the road because of traffic jams. With the current environmental conditions, it is not easy to complete the public charging system, power exchange system, and breakthroughs in battery and range technology for new energy models within 5 years. It is worth mentioning that the many car companies that have announced plans to stop selling fuel cars basically mean to stop selling pure internal combustion engine cars, not to abandon the internal combustion engine completely. In the case of BYD, for example, its Song Plus DMI and a number of other hot plug-in hybrid models still need internal combustion engines, and the previous high-end model launched at the Shanghai Auto Show, the Yangwang U8, also uses a need to be equipped with an internal combustion engine program technology. Some market views point out that the 2.0T engine technology solution used in the Yangwang U8 is considered to be a very advanced level inside the 2.0T engine on the market. You can see that BYD's hybrid engine has been continuously refined. Ola K. Lenius, chairman of the board of Mercedes-Benz, endorsed the prospect of electrification at the Shanghai Auto Show in April this year and predicted that at the end of this decade or the next, it will enter an era of high market share for electric vehicles. But we will not stop refining the performance of the internal combustion engine as long as we are still selling fuel cars. He believes that fuel and electric vehicles will coexist in the next 10 years. Detlev von Platten, a member of Porsche's global executive board who also spoke at the Shanghai Auto Show, also pointed out that in the next 20 to 30 years, we will still see a lot of fuel cars on the road. He agreed that pure electric vehicles are the inevitable trend, and that Porsche's goal is to have more than 80% of new vehicle deliveries purely electric by 2030. For the remaining 20%, Detlev von Platten believes it will not be purely electric. It will be the kind of fuel model that uses renewable energy and a clean fuel synthesized from carbon dioxide. In the current transition period to new energy vehicles, the fuel plus electric hybrid technology seems to be more in line with the current car environment. At present, in the form of new energy vehicle power drive, has developed into plug-in hybrid, pure electric, extended range 3 camps. In the next 5 to 10 years, hybrid will be the main product choice direction for consumers, especially for most new gasoline car owners who will gradually adapt to electrification. Pure electric products are more suitable for pure urban use scenarios, or for customers with a second family car. Choose a fuel or electric car. For consumers may be a single choice question, for car companies, a multi-pronged approach, and then according to market demand across the board, is the way of survival of enterprises. BMW has chosen to bet on both sides. Chairman Zipser said that fuel and electric vehicles are not an either-or relationship, and that different forms of power for cars will also coexist in the long term. In the current global automotive market, the share of pure electric vehicles is less than 10%. Why not go for a larger volume market, for us ordinary consumers? It is just one more concern when buying a car, whether to buy a fuel car or a new energy car. One is a traditional car with a history of hundreds of years of development in the world. One is the current trend of new energy vehicles. Many car owners really do not know how to choose. It is reasonable to say that new energy cars have so many advantages, should be more and more popular by the majority of car owners, but in fact, the earliest group of new energy car owners have felt regret compared with traditional fuel cars. One of the outstanding features of new energy vehicles is that it does not rely on oil to support driving but on charging. But a few years have passed. The batteries of these new energy vehicles have basically expired. However, the cost of replacing the battery is about 60,000 to 70,000 yuan, which in a moment let many people shouted that they could not accept. To new energy trams to change a battery is equivalent to buy a used car. In addition, many new energy car owners have complained about the cumbersome maintenance and other problems. In the past, when choosing a new energy car, it was considered that its cost of use would be lower than that of a fuel car, but now it seems that choosing a new energy car has cost a lot more money than a fuel car. Let's go back to the beginning of the video about the economist's proposed timeline for banning the sale of fuel cars within 5 years, which is definitely impossible. I just want to ask one thing. Where is the legal basis for the ban, please? For a highly market-oriented industry like automobiles, the market is still the fundamental determinant of its survival. If an industry is not recognized by the market, it will be difficult to go far even if it is strongly promoted by policies. From this point of view, the future development of the automobile market, the historical mission of the fuel car or not towards the end, should be decided by the market, rather than by planning directives to give the standard answer. That's all I have to say for today. See you in the next video.